And then from there, it's just progressed. I decided that I wanted to improve my mobility. Would help in my mountaineering and just in life in general. I reached out to Ray, who was a coach here, who's one of my favorite people, and he's put together a plan, for us to work together and accomplish
The Boom Show is produced by the team at Burg CrossFit. So please don't sue us. All of the recordings and materials in this podcast are for educational purposes only and should not be considered as a substitute for medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Let's just get smarter and sweat together. Cool? All right, let's go.
Ladies and gentlemen, another episode of The Boom Show. Boop, boop, beep, boppity bop. There's our intro according to Ames Fit. It is just me, your host today, Tony Vouis, and I am here with Griffin Walker. So he is an active Burg member. He is part of the 731 crew. Some of you guys know that. I coach 730. I say it's the 729 crew. But anyway, I want to get to his story about when he joined at Burg, kind of why he joined at Burg, and his fitness venture and story. So take it away, Griffin.
Hi, this is Griffin. I joined Burg September 2016, so almost 4 years ago. Chose to get into CrossFit because I recently had a son, wanted to stay fit. Also, two of my friends in Seattle, Washington came up to me and asked me if I wanted to complete what the climbing community refers to as the 7 summits. It's the 7 tallest mountains in the world. And ever since then, I joined Burg to help accomplish that goal and also to stay fit for my 4-year-old son.
Yeah, very cool. So, so when you first joined, I remember talking to you about your story. Climbing. I don't know which mountain you were climbing when you've got some pretty crazy stories with climbing. So maybe share a little bit about that.
2003, I was caught in an avalanche in Revelstoke, British Columbia, that basically put me in a coma and ruined my day, just to say the least. I was in a wheelchair for about 7 or 8 months, and it took me another 6 to 7 months to learn how to walk. I had a complete right side weakness, so I fractured basically from my orbital socket down to my tibia and fibia. I had my right leg reconstructed, and it took me, with physical therapy, a good 6 to 7 months to actually learn how to walk normally again.
What year was that again?
2003.
2003. So from 2003 to 2016, what had you done fitness-wise?
Just hiking and mountain climbing in Seattle. Living in the Pacific Northwest, there's a lot of hiking, a lot of mountain climbing, whether that was Rainier or up and down the Central Cascades, and that was really it. And then when I got to here in Florida, there was no mountains here in Florida. I started kayaking more, but that still wasn't, the fitness that I actually needed. In Seattle, we always walk around. We don't really drive much. And then we had the mountains. And so I needed to figure something out. I had this conversation with two of my really good friends. I want to, complete this goal with them also. And we started training for it. Started running around Burg Creek Lake, which is a little ways down from Burg. I had never heard of Burg before. I ran into an old friend, and she did CrossFit. I asked her, what it was about. And she's like, the workouts change every day, and it's something that you might want to look into. So I basically went on Googled CrossFit gyms in my area, and spoke to someone from a CrossFit gym on US 19. I think it was Blackbeard CrossFit. Mm-hmm. I spoke to another CrossFit affiliate, but I like Burg because I live about a mile away. So whether I want to work out or not, I'm here anyway. There's no excuse. It's a mile away. You can get to the gym. There's no excuse.
There you go.
So the fact that it's extremely close, it made me comfortable. I came in and I met Tony. He explained to me what CrossFit was about and the foundation courses. And then my first CrossFit foundation course was with Olivia. And after that first foundation course, I sat in my car and wondered why anyone ever does this. I was extremely tired, and I felt defeated at first. I went home, took a shower, and then proceeded to say, I'm going to book my next foundation course. And then the second foundation course came, third and the fourth. And I've been here at Burg 4 to 5 days a week since September 2016.
It's awesome. It's awesome. So, yeah, so that's a pretty crazy story as far as where you came from, what you're looking to do, and what you've had to handle to get to where you're at. So, with being at Burg, your journey's been over the last 4 years has changed and developed quite a bit. Maybe not the goal specifically of doing this venture with climbing seven tallest mountains in the world.
7 tallest mountains in the world.
And how far are you on that? Have you guys?
I have one left.
Awesome.
Which is Mount Everest.
Cool. When do you have that scheduled out?
In the next few years, it's expensive.
Yeah.
There's a lot of training. We want to actually climb this mountain without Sherpas. So we're doing it what alpinists or other mountaineers refer to it as unassisted. And so it's going to be just myself and 3 other climbers, and we're just going to go from there. So it's awesome. The permit from the Nepalese government, the airfare, and then also going to Everest itself. Most folks take usually 2 months off to get acclimated to the height. So you're at base camp and you're just camping and climbing in and around base camp before you even attempt to climb the mountain. And that could be 3 or 4 weeks away after that. Very cool.
Well, that's pretty awesome. You have to do another podcast once you've done it, So being at Burg, what's been your journey as far as training? Helpful, not helpful, to get to this goal?
I had never actually been in a working gym, so lifting weights, whether that's Olympic lifting or machines. All my physical fitness was either running up and down stairs in Seattle or climbing mountains. And so I was able to stay, and I was also younger, so I was able to stay pretty thin and had a six-pack. When I came to Burg, I had lived in Florida for 5 years. I gained about maybe 30 pounds, 35 pounds, just sitting around, kayaking every once in a while and drinking lots of beer. So when I came into Burg, I just wanted to move better and have a little structure. My first year at Burg was all trial and error. I was learning different techniques, everything when it comes to gear. I'm a total gearhead when it comes to mountaineering. So I had to try this CrossFit shoe, that CrossFit shoe, this knee sleeve, that knee sleeve, and just go back and forth and just ask questions. My second year in Burg, I started to have defined goals on how to approach my long-term goal of summiting Mount Everest. I started to have back issues. And it was really just tightness. It wasn't any pain, but it was tightness. And that stopped me from squatting lower than I needed, squatting as low as I needed to. And it just was, I was muscling the weights up more than I was actually using proper technique. I started seeing a massage therapist. That actually helped loosen up my muscles. I got more into stretching. I realized that there's 3 things when you come into Burg or any CrossFit gym that a new member should be concerned about. Your nutrition, not necessarily on what you eat, but how much you eat. You can, counting your macros is extremely important. Stretching, whether that is, prior to working out or after, stretching is extremely important. And also water intake. If you can drink at least half your body weight in water, you recover a little faster.
Sure.
You're not as overheated in the gym. And so those are the things that I learned in year 2 and 3. And then now, once I got pretty much halfway through my second year of Burg, I took someone's advice and I decided to enter a competition. And that was more so to understand the breathing in between movements and the transitions when you're actually doing a workout, to be a little more efficient. And so I figured by trying out in a competition, I could see how everything worked and revolved around that. How do you, if you're going to do 4 workouts in a day, what do you do in between workouts? Do you stretch? Do you get a massage? What type of food are you eating? And so when I did Festivus, that was the first beginner competition I've done, and the only beginner competition that I've actually done. And that taught me a little bit about the transitioning between movements, what to eat, how to fuel your body and hydrate your body in between workouts, because sometimes there was an hour or an hour and a half between, intense workouts. I learned a lot. And then from there, it's just progressed. I decided that I wanted to improve my mobility. Would help in my mountaineering and just in life in general. I reached out to Ray, who was a coach here, who's one of my favorite people. And he's put together a plan, for us to work together and accomplish my goals.
Had you worked with the nutrition team at all?
I did. I actually worked with Sarah. The funny thing with Sarah is that she was very warm and opening, and welcoming, I should say. When I explained to Sarah that, she's like, well, what do you eat? I was like, well, lunch at dinner. And she just looked at it, and I was like, I never ate breakfast. So here I am for like a year in the Burg, not eating breakfast. The first meal that I ate during the day usually was lunch. 2 or 3 times a day, 2 or 3 times a week, it was chicken pot pies or hamburgers. So not very nutritious at all. And then dinner was whatever. So we came up with a plan and a program that I could do. First of all, I had to research and find out what I could eat for breakfast. I hadn't eaten breakfast in probably 20 plus years. And any time that I ever really ate breakfast was when I had a hangover and you had a greasy spoon. So I found this company called Oats Overnight. I started eating breakfast every day. I started making my lunch instead of buying it or having chicken pot pies. I was put on a calorie count of 1,950 calories. And based on my goals, whether it's aesthetic and just mobility in itself. And I worked with Sarah for close to 6 or 7 months, developed really good habits that I still continue today.
Awesome. Yeah, going back to that, like one of the biggest things for a new member at Burg or a new person doing CrossFit is nutrition. And I know the water part is also bundled into that. So those two things combined can just make a tremendous result. And we've talked before on other podcasts about the 3 pillars of success, which is for health and fitness, and that we kind of have generally defined, which is fitness through working out, and nutrition and recovery, and stretching and everything is part of that recovery. So obviously you were doing the fitness part coming into the gym, and things you've been with us long enough, Griffin, that you've seen kind of the evolution of where the gym is kind of started at, I guess.
Yes.
Per se, and then where it's going. And obviously we're shifting big time in October to more of a hybridized membership, because we've seen you as an example see the results that we want other people to see, and to set the goals even further, and maybe not to climb the 7 tallest mountains in the world, but something. It doesn't have to be that. It could be just, I want to get a rope climb, or I want to be more confident in whatever movement that I do, or more confident in general because I want to lose the fat that I've been holding on to for the last 6 years.
Yeah, each person that comes in the gym definitely has a goal, whether they want, and on whether they know how to accomplish it or not is completely up to that individual. Asking for help is extremely important. Understanding, but the 3 basic things that I can say that everyone should really look at is definitely nutrition and stretching. If those 2 things, if you can work on those 2 things every day, you'll get a little better.
Sure.
And then you just ask, for help with a coach if you want to learn, whether that's handstand push-ups or rope climbs or your first pull-up. There's a lot of different people here at Burg, different sizes, different shapes, different athletic backgrounds, and everyone comes together in the sports and supports each other, for that goal. But it really comes down to when you're not in this gym, like, what do? You can't outwork your nutrition. I've tried. I've worked extremely hard in this gym to try to outwork my nutrition, and it just does not. It did not work. I started seeing better results and feeling better once I had a nutrition consultation and understood, okay, this is how to count your macros in your food, and set up different meal plans and things like that. And that was just much more efficient. And I felt that I was fueling my body for what I was doing each day in the gym.
Sure. That's awesome. I mean, that is the objective of nutrition. That is exactly what it is here for. That's why we see such high value in it. And that's why I think Sarah and the rest of the nutrition group and crew have really changed a lot of lives in a positive effect.
Oh yeah, most definitely.
Towards that. Yeah, it helps. It helps a lot. So moving on with, you said you started working with Ray a little bit and on movement quality and ranges of motion. And how's that been for you?
Well, we first started it in February, and then the coronavirus hit, and so we've put that on pause. This is my second week back in the gym. This will be my, I think my 5th or 6th class, and we will actually meet this evening, and we'll go from there on what the plan is.
Cool.
The physical assessment that Burg did for every member earlier in the year is the blueprint, is what we're going to pull from on mobility and on personal goals. There's a few CrossFit movements, gymnastic movements that I don't have down that we will be working on. But for right now, it's more the mobility aspect, shoulders and hips.
Gotcha.
Get more of that push and power from your hips instead of muscling up some of the weight.
Very cool. So I'll be excited to hear how that transpires over the next few weeks. What do you think? This shift in like CrossFit model here at Burg is obviously something you've kind of in-house utilized. But for those that haven't utilized the same, those that haven't really done those things, worked with a coach or done nutrition, how do you think that's going to affect them?
It's hard to say. I think that every person that's here in the gym can benefit from the new hybrid model that Burg has come into. I think that it will actually assist them, whether or not it's on nutrition, whether it's flexibility or mobility. They might want to learn a different movement that they just don't have down. They might not have muscle ups. Whether that's ring or bar muscle ups. Maybe they want to be in the 300 club when it comes to front squats or back squats. So everyone has these goals, whether it's aesthetic, you want to slim down and have a 6-pack, or you just want to be able to move better as you get older. For me, being 44, one of my main goals every day is to put my shoes on. Yeah. So as long as I'm able to do that, that's fantastic. But I think everyone can benefit from a little bit of coaching. Whether they take that or not, that's completely up to them. But I think that it's a benefit. It's a plus to actually have. Some gyms that you go to, I've done research over the last couple of years when it comes to CrossFit, different gyms in St. Pete and when I've traveled. And you're paying good money and you're expecting a good product, and you actually are getting what you pay for here, especially with the new hybrid program. I think that by asking for help and reaching out, not only does it make you a stronger individual, you'll reach your goals that much faster. Because there isn't everyone that has a goal in here could use some assistance. Sure.
So overall, thank you for sharing your entire story. The last to wrap this up, we have just a very random question, which, and I didn't throw this at you soon enough for you to think about prior to, but what is something that maybe it's an easy question for you. What is something that no one knows about you? Absolutely no one really knows about you, even maybe your wife, maybe not your wife, but something that nobody knows about you, or what is your biggest pet peeve?
Something that no one really ever knows about me is I was going to be on the TV show Naked and Afraid. But I actually found out that we were having a baby, and my wife was completely against it. She currently, 5 years down the road, almost 5 years now, is extremely against me going on Naked and Afraid. But also CrossFit helped, that I would look better naked. CrossFit helped that quite a bit.
Perfect. So guys, if you want to hear more about Griffin, message him on Facebook, chat with him. He's got some pretty cool stories, especially with all of his mountain adventures and climbing. So, but that's Griffin. See ya.
Thanks so much for listening to this episode on The Boom Show, produced for the team at Burg CrossFit. Whether you're local to one of our locations or just love what we do, we would love to invite you to check out our in-house and digital offerings over on our website at www.burgcrossfit.com. If you feel stuck on a particular movement or have no idea what the heck a jerk is, definitely check us out on our movement library over on our YouTube channels, found at each one of our corresponding locations at Burg CrossFit, Burg CrossFit North, or Burg CrossFit Sunbury. And we'll see you next time.